Good afternoon. So glad you have joined us today for DI Live's Beyond the Works. Top 10 roles you can add to your 3D Experience cloud environment. We invite you to stick around after today's presentation for a live Q&A. We will get started momentarily. We are just waiting a couple of minutes for others to join us. Okay, we will go ahead and get started. Without further ado, I'll hand things over to Kyle Elias.
Hello everybody, how are you doing? Hope everyone's doing alright. Today, we're going to talk about the top 10 roles that anyone can add to their 3D Experience cloud environment right now. My name is Kyle Elias. I'm an applications engineer here with Inflow, and we're going to go ahead and get started. First things first, we do want to get some terms out of the way. Make sure we're not scratching our heads and trying to understand some of these terms. What is a platform? What is a tenant, a role, a dashboard, an app? We're going to talk briefly about some of those so we all have an understanding of it and we can kind of relate to something when we are talking about it throughout the presentation. So first of all, let's think about the 3D Experience tenant. I want you guys to think about this cloud. Basically, Dassault Systems has a bunch of data centers scattered around the globe, and I literally do not think they can run out of storage. So I want you guys to think of the cloud for a minute as this vast storage. So in this vast storage building, there are different apartments. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, some of them have lots of people, some of them not so much. These are exactly the definition of a tenant. You're basically renting some of that storage space from the cloud and kind of using it for your own purposes. Each one of them is different. Each one of them is personalized to every single individual or every single organization. Now, how do you get to it? Well, you log in. Just like any other cloud application, you use your favorite browser to kind of get to it and log in. If you guys are security conscious or that's a big deal for you, just talk to us. There are some things we can do in the realm of security. For instance, we can create a private cloud for you, or we can even go as far as installing this on a private server. Two-step verification is also a possibility here, so we can dial up the security as you need it. Now, getting a little bit more into the weeds, we're going to talk a little bit about the 3D compass, what it is, what it does. The 3D compass is the compass here that sits on the top left hand corner of 3D Experience. Once you click on it, you're going to see this screen. Your roles are basically what you paid for. What did your company purchase? And each one of the roles will give you access to a number of apps. And the apps perform some kind of task for you. So just keep that in mind. Roles are here on the compass. They are what you pay for, and they give you access to apps. In order to use the apps, all you got to do is drag them from here and drop them on your dashboard, and it is as simple as that. Now, dashboards. I created a simple home base just to kind of show you what a dashboard is, and there you have it. In this homepage, we have a couple things that I want to touch on. The first thing are tabs. So those are the tabs there on the top. Basically, I want you guys to think about your cell phone. When you swipe right or swipe left, you get to a different screen, which has a different set of apps available to you. This works kind of the same way. As you kind of navigate through the tabs, each one of them has a different set of apps that you place there by dragging and dropping them from the 3D compass. So, of course, with that, on the bottom here, we have a number of different apps performing a number of different tasks for us. So, hopefully that paints a little bit better picture of how the apps, how the compass, how they all work with the tabs. Now, before we even go into our top 10, we do want to talk about some of our foundational roles. Basically, the next two roles that I'm going to talk about here are a minimum. You cannot get any one of the top 10 without these two. Of course, there are some other prerequisites that you may use, but in our opinion, these are, your base apps and your foundation that you would need for pretty much any role right now. Any one of the top 10, I should say. The first one is called Collaborative Business Innovation. Remember, this is foundational, so it will give you some of the base functionality that we're looking for and that we think is important for you guys to have as your foundation. So the Collaborative Business Innovation will give you 3D search and 6W tags. So that is a very powerful search tool if you guys want to search on some of the metadata or search on any parameters that are important to you. This tool is definitely a must. 3D Swim, those are swim communities. Those allow you to kind of create and share ideas, share wikis. You can share we-dos, 3D pictures or photos, and all kind of keep everybody in the loop of what's going on. You can even go as far as, assigning something to in progress or complete right from those swim communities. 3D Drive, this is a personal cloud storage solution. So for some of you guys that may need some personal storage on the cloud that's available, I do want to mention that this is not a vaulting solution. So it's not revision control. There's no check-in, check-out. This is personal storage on the cloud. 3D Play, this is a universal viewer. It allows you to view and understand things on the cloud, so you don't have to download any app or any application to kind of view some of the things that are already saved on the cloud. So some drawings or some markups like this, you're able to view right on the cloud. You don't have to use anything else. And of course, it gives you the possibility of creating your 3D dashboards with the tabs and everything we just saw. Also important to mention is whoever logs in for the first time will be a platform manager, and it's up to that person from that point on to assign new managers or create new admins. So just keep that in mind. Although the system is almost out of the box functionality, there is some configuration that's needed, and the first person that logs in will be a manager. The next base role we're going to talk about is called Collaborative Industry Innovation. And some of the highlights of it are collaborative tasks. This app will allow you to assign tasks to yourself or to others. And you can add things like documents, dates, due dates, percent complete, and really keep track of your tasks in one simple to use app. Collaboration for Microsoft. this is an install. It allows you to kind of keep using your Microsoft Office products but collaborate to the cloud instead. So it's basically a connector but for Microsoft products. 3D Space. So this is your almost like your vaulting solution. This is where you will save your data, your company data. You can create what is called collaborative spaces and manage permissions with user types. So this will allow you reserve and unreserved capabilities, and some of you may know that as check-in, check-out, and revision control and metadata control will be in this app. So, very different than 3D Drive. This is where your data will be stored. Product Explorer. This is basically a visual. As you kind of drag and drop files in it, it allows you to understand what that file structure is. So if you drop, an assembly on it, it will show you a visual of all the components that are on that assembly. It's almost like a visual bomb in a way. Compare. This is one of my favorite apps. It allows you to compare two different CAD parts or even two different versions, mainly Rev A or Rev B of the same CAD part or CAD assembly. So it will kind of create a visual for you and highlight the differences. It's very powerful, and I think it's very, very important. Route management. This allows you to define some business processes and execute them. So it's a powerful app to kind of keep track of your processes. And collaborative lifecycle. Some of you may know life cycles as workflows. These are pre-configured, but you have some leeway in configuring them. Basically, you can set your parts from released to work in progress, or however name you want to name those maturity cycles or maturity states. And of course, the bookmark editor. I mean, this is a very important one as well because it allows you to bookmark some parts and kind of create folders and keep track of things as they are moving through the cloud. So you don't have to go looking for them every single time. You can simply bookmark them and keep track of them in that simple app. Notice here we have a prereq already, and that's collaborative business innovation. So even if you just want to get this role, industry innovation, you have that prereq, which is business innovation. So you cannot get this role without the other one. So I just want you guys to kind of start thinking about it. These prerequisites are in there for a reason, and you will need to purchase basically these two foundational roles to get anything else that we're going to talk from this point forward. So hopefully that is clear to you guys, and we're going to go ahead and move forward. All right, are we ready? Here we go. And our number 10 spot here belongs to the collaborative designer for blank. And I really left that blank intentionally. The reason for that is because there are many different collaborative designer roles today. One of them is designer for SolidWorks. Another one is designer for CATIA, or maybe designer for Inventor. So those are mostly available today. We do have a number of them out there. If you have a question about it, or if it's available for your CAD application, just give us a call. We can definitely help you out. But basically, this role will allow us to install a connector and allow you to contribute to the cloud, but using that CAD solution that you're using today. So things like your searches, your properties, your metadata, your revision control will all be available from your legacy CAD solution. And you, instead of saving files locally, you're collaborating to the cloud, you're secure, you're revision controlled. So we'll watch a short video here of Maria kind of using this app, this role, and kind of get a better understanding of how it works. So here we go. We're going to be using Maria here as our designer. She has just received a notification that this task has been assigned to her. From this SolidWorks add-in, she can open that task and even open the attachment that's on that task right from that simple screen. She doesn't have to go to the cloud. She can just keep working straight from SolidWorks. Once she gets to her My Session location, that's her vaulting capabilities. That's where she has the ability of checking things in, checking things out, or reserving and unreserving is the new term for it. She can also do things like search for new parts, revision parts, control metadata, all from here. So just a quick example here, we're going to see Maria's going to look for this new gasket here. She's going to drag and drop it onto her assembly, and boom, just like that, you have a new part in your assembly. You can vision control this or check it out as you wish. Alright, so hopefully that gave you a good understanding about the add-in, what it is, what it does, how it works, how it collaborates from your desktop to the cloud and back. And next we're gonna move on here and talk about our next role, which is our number 9. Our number 9 spot belongs to Project Planner. The reason why this is here is because it's a very simple and intuitive tool that users can start pretty much using right away. It allows us to add members, add content, create tasks to one another, have a Gantt chart, just kind of keep our projects on track. But I don't want to talk too much about this. I created an instructional video with my colleague Nick Sweeney that explains this in detail, so let's go ahead and watch that.
I'm Nick Sweeney, and I'm an application engineer here at Inflow Technology. Today, we're going to talk about planning your projects on the Dassault 3DEXPERIENCE platform. Project Planner is found as part of the Project Planner role. Project Planner on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform makes it easy to track all of your projects and collaborate with the assigned users. It gives you one central location to view information about things like project milestones, risk assessment, and resource usage. Relevant documents are attached to your projects, making it so you never have to go looking for that document you need ever again. Tasks are a critical part of every project, and tracking their progress is a key function for project managers. With Project Planner, you can track which tasks are still waiting to be touched, which ones are in work, and which ones are completed. Additionally, these tasks are tracked on the platform, keeping everything in one place. Each task has information about start and end dates, as well as how near it is to completion. We also have Gantt charts to go with our projects. A well-known tool in the project management world, Gantt charts provide a graphic representation of your project schedule. On the platform, you can create new projects, milestones, and tasks for your charts. Project Planner makes it easy to understand your project's timeline and make any updates to keep the project on track. And of course, every project has the assigned users and relevant content. Once given permission, users can consume information from any device with real-time updates and notifications. And because the 3DEXPERIENCE platform is interconnected, the relevant content can quickly be opened in other applications, making it easier than ever to visualize and understand your projects. Effective project planning can be a game changer for any organization. With Project Planner on the Dassault 3DEXPERIENCE platform, you have a single location where you can track all of your projects and manage any relevant information. This makes it easier to keep your deadlines and keep everyone involved on track.
Next, we're going to talk about a similar named role, but very different in what it does. And the role is called Project Manager for our number 8 spot. Project Manager allows you the full-on management of your project on the cloud, and that includes anything from conception all the way to completion. In Project Manager role, you get some apps like Enovia My Projects, which of course allows you visibility over where your current projects and what you're working on. My Issues allows you to visualize and understand your issues and also create new ones as they arise. My Collections just allows you to create lists and collections by each specific user. My Root Tasks, very similar to the tasks we've seen before, just allows you to create tasks for yourself or for others to keep your project moving along, keep your project on time. And on those tasks, there are many things that you can track, including your on-time delivery, things that are critical, some issues, maybe your budget is over, or anything along those lines for your specific project. Of course, there's a Gantt chart app which allows you to create a Gantt chart and kind of keep track of the tasks related to that project and understand if it's moving in the right direction. Finally, the Enovia project management tool allows you the full-on review and understanding of that project, including your schedule, your collaboration, your budget, any issue that may arise or anything related to that project will live here and allows you to kind of keep track of that. I think you guys already got a sense of what's coming. Of course, I have a video, so let's go ahead and walk through the video as we kind of explain to you what Project Manager is all about. So we're gonna start at our home, if you want to call it that. Basically, this is where we kind of figure out everything there is about our project. So our statuses, our tasks, things that may or may not be late. Of course, we can drill down a bit more to business status and understand our risks and maybe our opportunities, maybe some opportunity for improvement or anything like that may come along, and we can check all that here. You can even go a little bit deeper and talk about schedule. There you see something like tasks, your Gantt charts, your design phases. So like your initiation phase, your design phase, your deployment phase can all be done through here. And there's a lot of detail here. I'm not going to talk about everything there is, but just trying to give you a sneak peek, just a snapshot of what this role is all about. It really allows you to keep track of your project from inception all the way to completion and kind of keep things moving along. Make sure you're not missing any dates. Make sure your gates are completed on time, and just kind of keep track of your financials and everything there is about that project. So hopefully this gave you a good understanding of what project manager is all about. I know there's a lot more detail that we're not covering, but this is a simple overview, and just want to make sure you guys know and are aware of what's available today. The next role we're going to talk about here has a similar name, but it's very different in what it does. And number 7 belongs to change manager. And the change manager role is responsible for anything and everything there is on your change procedures. And it really keeps track of everything from request to order to completion to permissions. Whoever needs to approve that can approve it. So I do have a short clip about it that kind of does a better job explaining what this does. So let's go ahead and watch that. Our change manager will basically be responsible for the entire change procedure, and that usually happens across an engineering team or any other team that may need change documentation. It all starts with a change request, and pretty much any user can request a change, and it's up to you as a change manager to validate that, or accept that, make sure that is an actual valid change. Once you accept that, then you make that into a change order, which you assign to somebody, and that person can then use that change order to create a change action. So it's a out of the box procedure. We can definitely help you guys understand that a little bit better, but basically the change manager, we use this role and this dashboard that you're seeing right now to kind of interact, understand the impact of that change, create those change orders, those change actions, and collaborate with one another. Of course, there are permissions attached to it. There are assignments, so you can assign a task to somebody and they'll get a notification. So it is a full-on change management procedure, and we're definitely here to kind of talk to you more about that if you are interested. But again, this is just a quick sneak peek into what that is. Our next role coming up here has nothing to do with change whatsoever or being a manager whatsoever. The next role is called the social business analyst, and that's our number 6 spot. This role really allows you to leverage all the information that's available on the internet to your own benefit. So you can do things like create a rule on your Twitter account every time one of your products is mentioned. You can count that or create a rule around that. You can really understand maybe what people are talking about your product, or create graphs, or understand, maybe check an email inbox, anything that's important to you, and kind of create some analytics and some graphs and some graphical documentation and visualization of what's going on with that data. So as a quick example, let's watch a short video here. Alright, so our social business analyst role will allow us to keep track of data that's going around in the internet. That includes keeping track of feeds that may be of interest to us, or setting up rules to read certain areas and keep track of that for us. We can even share some of this content to a swim community to allow the rest of the users that may not have this role to understand some of this data that the system picked up by itself. This runs using NetVibes, as you guys may know it. And of course, you can change some of the dashboard, some of the graphs to better represent your data, or better show it in a way that you understand. You can graph it geographically, put it on a map, and the last tab here just shows us some of the rules we can create. So when it picks up some of that data, so when our rules are infringed, what do we do with that? Do we send an email out? Do we send a post out? It's up to us how we program it, but there's a lot we can do with this app and this role, and that's one of the reasons why it's in our top 10. We're reaching the halfway mark here, and our number 5 spot belongs to our structural mechanics engineer role. There are a lot of roles available in the simulation realm, but I had to choose one, so this is the one I think is one of the important ones. Of course, as the name says, it allows you to physically understand your product, how it behaves before you even build it. So it allows you analysis like thermal analysis, buckling, loads, linear analysis. It allows you a lot of control, a lot of capability without even building your prototypes. Spending some money on the manufacturing of that part, you can understand how it's going to behave, and you can kind of predict where it's going to fail and really understand that part before you even do anything with it, just by having it on that machine. Of course, we have a short video about this, so let's go ahead and launch our video and we'll explain to you what this role is all about.
No matter what product you design, one thing is always true. Physical testing is expensive and time-consuming. Anything you can do to improve efficiency and reduce late-phase design changes would be enormously beneficial to your product and your bottom line. Simulia's structural mechanics engineer role was created with these exact needs in mind. With the structural mechanics engineer role, users are able to locate and clean up design data with best-in-class geometry preparation tools without data transfers or emails, build finite element models efficiently by capturing meshing rules, generating geometry abstractions, managing large model assemblies, and generating spot weld and line weld connections by reusing engineering data. Calibrate complex material models from test data easily. Capture realistic physics with broad range of analysis procedures, and then rapidly update simulations to incorporate these design changes, and widely share KPIs and targets on dashboards with stakeholders throughout the design process. The direct business benefits of using Simulia's structural mechanics engineer role are minimizing product weight, thus maximizing efficiency and reducing operating costs, reducing expensive and challenging physical tests through proven predictive virtual tests, and increasing certification confidence in early and detailed design phases.
Wasn't that fun? I don't know about you guys, but knowing how a product will perform before even building the first prototype is brilliant. We're going to go ahead and keep moving along here to our top 10. And our number 4 spot belongs to the product release engineer role. This is very different from the change manager and the project manager roles, as the product release engineer is mostly focused on kind of coming up with new product lines and releasing them, making sure they're accurate, and also releasing bombs, adding extra information. So if you need some kind of expansive bond management capability, this may give you that, because you can attach documentation, you can attach PDFs, Word documents to your bomb and release that as complete. So there's a lot of capability here, and I think it's one of the more important ones. There's a lot of our customers that are looking for some of that bond management capability, and I think the product release engineer role gives us just that. Let's watch a short clip here, and we'll reconvene after that. In this example, we're going to use Evan, our product manager, and Lucas, our product designer. Evan is using the product release engineer role to design this new bill of material and release it. First thing he'll do is he'll attach a PDF document, specification document to this bill of material, and he's also going to release ownership of that document to Lucas. Lucas, on the other hand, is going to be the person responsible for making the changes to the CAD assembly. So we're going to see here in a little bit, and hopefully you guys can pick up on the difference here. We see that Lucas changed that perforated sheet metal cover there. He's also attaching a part number, a description, and he'll tag this part as a make instead of a buy. The final thing he'll do here using the product release engineer role is he's going to tag everything to frozen, or change the maturity cycle to frozen. And what that does is it freezes the design, so everybody navigating through the cloud solution knows that's frozen, that's waiting for an approval. Of course, Lucas gives Evan a call and tells him like, hey, can you check on my changes and approve them if you agree with them. We can see now here in the end, Evan is just kind of dragging and dropping files in 3D Play and understanding what was changed before he's comfortable enough to release it. So this is just a simplified showing of what the role can do, but there's a lot of capability there in kind of managing your bill of materials, attaching documentation to it, changing it, requesting approvals, permissions, the freezing the design, and all that is here. So hopefully that gave you a good snapshot of what this role is all about. Moving right along here, we're going to get to our number 3 spot, which belongs to 3D Product Architect. While Product Release Engineer allows you a little bit more of a high-level BOM management and release capability, the 3D Product Architect drills a little bit more into the weeds, into the details, and it's more focused for the actual designers, the engineers actually doing the changes. So apps like 3D Compose and Product Structure Editor will allow users to understand an existing assembly and maybe branch out of that, create new components out of that, or just add brand new components and make a new assembly out of that. So it really is a powerful tool that allows you to leverage existing data and kind of create new components or new solutions as the market changes or as your needs evolve. So let's go ahead and watch a short clip about that today. Of course, we're going to use Lucas, our handy designer here, as our example. This time around, Lucas has received a change action notification. And if you guys remember back to the change manager role, that is the person responsible for creating change orders, change actions, and change notifications. So in this change action, Lucas is required to create a new 50mm screw compressor. And instead of creating everything from scratch again, he's going to leverage the power of 3D Product Architect to branch off a new assembly off of this existing one. Lucas is going to use this app called Product Structure Editor to duplicate this assembly in the first place. So he's going to duplicate, of course, the top level assembly, but reuse all the components beneath it. This just makes sure we're using the maximum amount of standard components as possible, and just kind of branches off the main top level assembly and uses the same standard components underneath it. Once the duplicate command is complete, Lucas is simply going to get rid of the original screw compressor, so he doesn't want to mess with the release component. So he's just going to remove that from the tree. So now that we have a new component, we can give it a new part number, a new description, however we'd like it. We can go ahead and start making our changes. So Lucas is going to use the 3D Compose app to add the new 50mm screw compressor that the change actions calls for. Remember, this role allows you to leverage existing components, so it's for people that have some of those already built in, or you can of course use your legacy CAD solution to create them at any point in time. So Lucas has found our new screw compressor. He just simply dragged and dropped it into the new assembly, and just like that, we have a new product, a new assembly that we can release and kind of just start using right away. So that is really the power of 3D Product Architect. Allows you to kind of reuse assemblies, branch off, and create new components fairly easily, and just kind of keep revising your products as the market demands. Alright guys, we're getting down to our top 2 now, and our number 2 spot belongs to Electrical 3D Systems Engineer. This is a very powerful role that allows you to leverage the entire CAD assembly of whatever you're designing. In this example, we have a car seat, but it allows you to leverage the entire assembly and design your electrical systems around that. You can check for pinch points, you can check for breakage or loose connections using this role. So let's watch a short clip about it, and I'll kind of understand what it is all about.
Electrical 3D System Engineer defines, based on the electrical systems definition, the 3D representation of the wire harness assembly in context with the complete product. This to improve the overall wire harness quality, shorten design time, and reduce material cost by optimizing the physical design. Using the synchronization capabilities between the logical schematic design and the 3D, we first place the missing equipment in the physical world. Since the schematic did not contain the final placement coordinates, the airbag unit will be placed at the origin. Dedicated placement functionality will support the easy placement at the right position. Now the harness from the bottom of the seat to the airbag unit is routed. In this case we have an estimate of the diameter and bend radius since we do not have wires inside. This will be adjusted when synchronizing the wires from the schematic as well. We can define this bundle using references from existing geometry, like already placed supports or following surface from the mechanical parts. When selecting a connector, it will automatically connect in the right way to the bundle position point to guarantee the connection and its orientation. Bundle segments can be easily defined from an existing bundle without the need of point creation. Just selecting the bundle and adjusting the position is all that is needed to split the bundle in several parts. We check quickly the connections between all bundles and connectors. All is green, so all is connected, before we synchronize the wires from the schematic. In this case coming from the CATIA schematic application, but could as well come from IXF XML from other ECAD systems. CATIA will route these wires inside the already created bundles and instantly obtain bundle diameter based on wire content, and will have available the length of each wire.
I told you guys that was a powerful one. I think it's brilliant that we have the capability of being able to design electrical systems with the full 3D CAD in perspective. That just gives us a whole new vantage point to design our systems in a better way. Now, moving on to our number one spot here, which belongs to Visual Experience Designer. This is a very powerful role. I really believe this applies after everything we talked about. So after your change manager has set up all the changes, after your product has been released, your product architect has changed whatever they need to change, this will be almost like a last step, making sure the visual looks all right. It has very powerful tools like human-like shaped objects, so we can kind of understand how a human would interact with your object. You can also change some settings in real time, change fillets, change product types. So let's watch a short clip here about this role. I'm really excited about it, so hopefully you are as well. What do you think about that one? I chose specifically not to talk over this one just because there's a lot happening on the screen, and I didn't want to take the focus away from you and kind of keep talking in the background. So hopefully that all made sense. And that completes our top 10 here. Really wanted to kind of show you a picture of a complete product development, from simple project planning tools to foundational roles to change roles and product release roles, and kind of also some simulation and visual roles that kind of complete your product development from conception all the way to marketing material, if you may think about it that way. So I'm just gonna leave it open for questions here if you guys have any. Of course, if we get too much into the weeds, we may have to, defer to a later conversation, but we're here for that. So please drop us any questions you may have, and also please feel free to email us, call us. We're here for that. So again, thank you for your time today, and I'll see you at a later time.